All set? Good morning, everyone. My name is Greg Kettman. I am with Lenovo. I am the product manager for our Microsoft offerings. In particular, I do Azure Stack, but today we're going to talk about a product we're announcing today actually called ThinkAgile MX. ThinkAgile MX fits within Microsoft Storage Spaces Direct. And of course, Storage Spaces Direct is a feature of Windows Server. That feature then needs to be certified. If you want it supported, you need to have it in a certified configurations. Microsoft certification program is Windows Server Software Defined. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, mostly about the capabilities of what it has. Phil, with me today, Phil from Acuutech, is going to give you a little bit about the enhancements in Azure, in Storage Spaces Direct that are being enhanced in Windows Server 2019, along with the capabilities what it has. I'll talk to you a little bit about what ThinkAgile MX does, and then Phil will join in again with a way to augment that package with management that sits on top of that. I would like to remind you that we have a booth. Lenovo has a booth on the floor, and if you'd like to go out there, we have exhibits on all of this that we're talking about. We have shows that you can see to win prizes and learn lots of things. We do have a booth schedule. Melissa at the back of the room has some of this information. We do have a booth schedule. So we have 10-minute sessions that we run in our booth. Each has a free giveaway. So the Alexa-type box, from Amazon, but it's from Lenovo. Those are available in our booth, along with all that information that you can get from that. There you can see what the ThinkAgile MX appliance looks like, how that works. Talk to us, ask questions. We'd love to answer your questions. So with that in mind, I will turn it over to Phil Moss from Acuutech.
Thank you very much indeed, Greg. Good morning, everybody. So I am Philip Moss. I am Chief Product Officer at Acuutech. Acuutech is a UK-based service and solution provider who specializes in Microsoft-based technology and solutions. Let's frame this morning's conversation a bit. Let's talk about WSSD, Windows Server Software Defined. Just a bit of history. It's been quite a long road to get here. Microsoft first started on the software-defined data center story back in Server 2012. That is the first time Microsoft shipped storage network compute as a software-defined solution. For some of you who have been around for a while, you remember that as Storage Spaces Shared SaaS. We went through 2012 R2, where we had evolution and improvement. And then in 2016, we had the release of the third release of Microsoft software-defined platform in the form of Storage Spaces Direct, Software-Defined Networking 2.0, and improvements to Hyper-V. That released in 2016. We now come forward to 2018, and we had the release of Windows Server 2019, the fourth release of Microsoft's software-defined data center platform, ushering a broad new set of capabilities on the storage, network, and compute front. And I want to set the scene for a while about some of these changes and enhancements. But let's first of all talk about the fundamental technology here, Storage Spaces Direct. Storage Spaces Direct is a shared nothing software-defined storage platform. It is highly scalable, highly available, and incredibly high performant. Because it is software-defined, it is built on fundamental capabilities of commodity software and commodity hardware to deliver that truly scalable, true high-performance computing platform or storage platform. It is flexible. It scales from 2 to 16 nodes. It works in hyperconverged and in disaggregated scenarios. And of course, Hyper-V is its primary hypervisor. A key part of Storage Spaces Direct is the WSSD program. This is a critical program run by Microsoft. Lenovo takes part in this program to deliver validated solutions. Lenovo and Microsoft work closely together to validate the hardware and the software configuration to mean the hardware you buy works, is high performance, and is reliable. That configuration and that maintenance keeps going through ongoing support, which means when firmware and driver changes come out, they are fully supported inside the WSSD program. That means for you as a customer, you get dependable, high-performance capabilities. Now, let's talk for a second about the changes in Server 2019. 2019 has brought in a number of changes to Storage Spaces Direct, evolving the true power of the Microsoft software-defined data center. I like to talk about this in three key areas: performance, flexibility, ease of use. Let's talk about performance for a while. As many of you will know, there is a wonderful technology inside of Storage Spaces Direct known as Mirror Accelerated Parity Volumes, used to be called MRT. It's a wonderful technology that allows you to get very efficient disk capacity, mixing the capabilities of three-way mirror with erasure coding-based parity. This means you can get overall disk efficiency between 50 and 81%. In Server 2019, there have been significant performance improvements in this technology and capability, meaning that this fantastic way of configuring your volumes can now be used for general-purpose workloads, general-purpose VM workloads. Fantastic performance efficiency, fantastic cost efficiency, introduced in Server 2019. We then usher in storage class memory support. Storage Spaces Direct has been fully optimized to take advantage of storage class memory, technologies like Optane. This drives up the overall performance. Some of you might have seen some benchmarks yesterday, the levels of performance Storage Spaces Direct can drive. It is not uncommon with storage class memory support to build systems in excess of 10 million IOPS. It also drives down latency. So we are measuring latency in much lower terms, ideal for those low latency, high performance applications and demanding workloads we all think about today, high frequency trading, etc. Fully optimized, built in Storage Spaces Direct. We're then talking about something called the CSV cache. If any of you have been in Microsoft technology for a few years, you'll know the CSV cache. It's been around since Server 2008. The CSV cache is a wonderful technology. It puts a RAM cache in front of the CSV volumes. What that means is that you are getting RAM-based acceleration for most of your read workloads. This works in partnership with other parts of the caching technology built into Storage Spaces Direct, which means that you get high-performance acceleration on all write operations and almost all read operations, driving up performance, driving down latency on commodity hardware and commodity software. Those were the three performance enhancements. Let's talk about flexibility. Today, as many of you will know, the upper scale limit of Storage Spaces Direct is 16 nodes. Therefore, when you start to build large deployments, you get what is known as cluster sprawl. You build these multiple 16-node clusters. And when you start working with multiple workloads and large numbers of VMs, you end up with lots and lots of clusters. There is a wonderful new technology known as cluster sets, allowing you to group those multiple clusters into a single unified namespace, allowing you to organize and distribute your VM workloads better. Let's be very clear. They are still independent islands of Storage Spaces Direct, but they are now seen as a unified, integrated, scalable namespace, making those large-scale deployments simpler, easier to manage. So I've just spoken about massive deployments. Let's go to the other end of the scale, the two-node scenario, the most popular deployment on the planet. We all know the two-node scenario is very popular and very efficient. The two-node scenario, as you know, like any clustering technology, has to use a witness. It has to have some way of figuring out when the system's gone wrong. So historically, if you look at other vendors and other technologies, what you used to do is you had to use either another server, in other words, have 3 nodes, or a file share, or some external resource, for example, the internet. All of those systems are fine, but potentially expensive, and not ideal if you don't have an internet connection. One of the wonderful changes in the 2019 to Storage Spaces Direct is that now you can deliver the quorum, the witness capability, using a USB stick. And I shall now steal a phrase from my good friend Cosmos, who is in the Microsoft engineering team. A $2 USB stick. And what you might wonder you do with that USB stick is you connect that USB stick, sorry, I've gone too far, into your router. That cheap, horrible router that all of you have for your little two-node solutions. You connect that USB stick in, and it functions as a storage device. Storage Spaces Direct can now use that little cheap USB stick as the external witness for its quorum, meaning you can do two-node solutions without an internet connection, without an expensive third server, cheaply, efficiently. For all those disconnected branch office scenarios, it's ideal. The next wonderful piece of flexibility in Server 2019 is something called scoped volumes. One of the reasons Storage Spaces Direct is so fast is that every single volume is spread across every single node or server. That's brilliant. It makes it quick. It makes it fast. However, it also creates a flaw. What it means is if you ever lose 3 nodes, you are guaranteed to lose all of your data. Not you might lose it, you will. For certain people, that's a problem. So a new capability is something called scoped nodes, so scoped volumes. In scoped volumes, as a user, you can say, I only want a volume to use up, say, 5 nodes. Or, sorry, my animation's out of sync. I'm so sorry. There we are. I can say to a volume, I only want it to use up 5 of my 16 nodes, or 8 of my 16 nodes. And then you can lose more than 3 nodes without the system going offline. That gives you greater overall flexibility. Now, obviously, it's slower because you haven't got the data across all the nodes, but the system is more fault tolerant. Now, before you all run out and think this is for every single workload you want, this is really for the scenarios where you have deployments where you can't easily replace hardware, where you've got deployments where when a system fails or a disk fails, it might be several days or several weeks before that can be replaced. What scoped volumes mean is that you have a greater level of redundancy in the system, increasing flexibility. So, now let's talk about ease of use. The first one I'm going to talk about is the issue that has affected all shared nothing systems from multiple vendors for years. It's called the data resync issue. As many of you will know, when you reboot nodes, when you take systems offline, when they come back online, they have to get their data back in sync. They have to become consistent again. That consistency activity is network and disk intensive. A byproduct of that requirement has always meant you can only have a certain size of node, a certain amount of storage. Under 2016, it was 100 terabytes was the limited amount of storage per node. Due to a change in Server 2019, and by the way, it's also backported in Server 2016, you can avoid the data resync. The way this works is, when a node goes offline, instead of writing that data to the node, when a node goes offline, the system will go and write that data to other available nodes. When the node comes back online again, instead of trying to get the out-of-date data resynchronized again, it just says, oh, it's OK. Your data's now out of date. It's OK. I've got other copies of it. I'm just going to ignore it, and I'm going to metadata out the out-of-date data. What that means is you avoid that enormous amount of disk I/O, and you avoid the time it takes to get that data back in sync. That means you can have much larger densities of storage within a single node, and means much larger volumes of data are possible in an overall Storage Spaces Direct system. The stated number is now moved to in excess of 400 terabytes per node, with a maximum usable or raw capacity of 4 petabytes per system. That is an enormous level of scale and capacity on a software-defined system. The next one I want to talk about is the one you've probably all heard of, Windows Admin Center. Now, because I'm British and because I have no hair, I like PowerShell, and I go, whoa, I like typing away at PowerShell. Unfortunately, PowerShell isn't for everybody. Microsoft has delivered a wonderful technology in the form of Windows Admin Center. It is a graphical management interface for Windows Server. Let us be very clear. This is not a system center. This is not an Azure stack. It is a lightweight, HTML-based management interface that is zero touch to the systems it is managing. You can use it to do all that wonderful day-to-day graphical-based management. At the same time, you can still do PowerShell to do all the detailed things, and they will not argue with each other. You can now do things like see the state of your system, look at capacity, look at your capacity planning, look at the health of your system, look at the file system, all from a graphical system, from a single, simple installer. I would highly recommend attending some of the sessions that Cosmos and some of the Microsoft team are running on Windows Admin Center. So, let's talk about those high-level things for a second. StorageSpace is directed to delivering that incredible hyperconverged platform. It's driven out scale. It's redefined performance, both at the large scale and at the small scale end. And it's become simpler to manage and easier to use compared to previous releases. Now, hopefully that's given you an introduction to the changes in Server 2019 in StorageSpace Direct. I'm now going to invite Greg to come up on stage and introduce you to the innovation that Lenovo is bringing to the hardware space to take advantage of the Server 2019 capabilities. Greg, all yours.
Thank you very much, Phil. Very nice job. So again, Greg Kettman, Product Manager at ThinkAgile MX. So we are announcing officially ThinkAgile MX today. So if there we go. So if today under WSSD, the typical ordering mechanism, not many people have to necessarily mess with the ordering system, but the way it works is that a certified solution comes together and then we provide a BOM, bill of material, and then you can use that, or your rep, whatever, can use that rep channel partner to order the equipment. However, there are rules that govern what you can do, but they're not built into the BOM, right? So you go to make changes, you could make changes that are not allowed or are ill-advised, you end up with a non-certified solution. There are other elements to that. So you're buying pieces parts, you're buying a standard server that is going to be configured for what you want, and then you'll have additional work. So what we are announcing today is ThinkAgile MX. ThinkAgile is our brand where we combine things, whether rack scale or node scale. This is a node scale solution. We take this and we make it easy for you to order. Single part number. So this is a single part number. Additionally, at Lenovo, we have configuration tools. Everybody does. Those configuration tools then, the rules that govern what you can do to have a certified configuration are built into the configurator tool. So for example, hard drives in a hybrid environment, you can have between 4 and 10. We allow between 4 and 10. All right? So everything about this is governed to that. The supported processors are in there. The supported memory configurations are in there. Everything is in there to make sure that the configuration you end up with is a certified, validated configuration that you can run with confidence that it'll be supported by Lenovo and Microsoft. So it's flexible. It's easy to order. Another thing we do then is we take the firmware levels in second-level manufacturing and we set them all to where they're supposed to be. So we manage the firmware level. We, as Phil mentioned, the WSSD program does include firmware levels. Firmware levels of the HBA, firmware levels of the motherboard, firmware levels throughout the system. So we take that, we put it together in what we call a best recipe. That best recipe then is applied to this machine in manufacturing so that when you get the machine, it's ready to go. Now, and I'll get into it in a minute. So that makes it easy to order and support. Included in this is what we call ThinkAgile Advantage. Now that's in 56 countries today. ThinkAgile Advantage is single point of support. 1-800, call Lenovo, we'll take care of what the problem is. Just call us and we'll take care of it. And there's other software support services built into that. So you've got the support you need for the solution, all right? If you were to buy an SR650 today, which this is built on, and ask for support, you're going to go to IBM support, which is good, but they're just going to support the hardware, okay? You've got a failing hard drive, they're going to go IMM, whatever the case may be, figure out what's wrong, fix the problem. But what the software that's running on top of that, they have no knowledge of, no interest in, they are not going to take care of anything of that. So if you want to turn this into a solution, we will add solution level support on top of that again. So certified components, and by the way, in WSSD, ThinkAgile MX certified node is basically an SR650, that's a 2U. We have two different configurations, I'll get into that in a moment. But that basic configuration then is essentially a standard SR650. The solution, however, does include top-of-rack switches, okay? So you'll need some form of top-of-rack switches, so we have switches that we'll recommend. You can even layer on a management layer, a hardware management layer running Xclarity if you'd like. These are all kind of optional components. Now you'll need to do something in your environment to enable that. Plug it into your own hardware management system that you're using today, however you want to do that. Certainly you'll need top-of-rack switches. So all those components, servers, components, top-of-rack switches, and firmware are all included, certified, tested, and we have additional services from Lenovo that you can use for deployment, et cetera. And then Phil will be talking about additional capabilities he can add as well. So this kind of re-emphasizes the points that I just made. If you were to buy a standard BOM offering like we had yesterday and have had for the past, last year or so, over a year, firmware controlled, no, the pieces that we do. What we've added in certified node is Windows is always available to be pre-installed on our hardware. So just like if you were to buy a SR650 today, you can. We tend to pre-install Windows Server. Point to stress, storage spaces direct, the feature within Windows, okay, is built into Windows Server 2016-2019. It's there. If you buy Data Center Edition, you have storage spaces direct. So there's no additional licensing cost. There's nothing else you need to do except deploy it in a certified environment, right? In a validated environment. So you need to follow the cookbook, but as long as you follow the cookbook and configure it with rules that Lenovo and Microsoft allow, you're in great shape. But again, it comes with Windows Server 2016. That's a really important point because it makes this a very cost-effective solution. ThinkAgile support, ThinkAgile Advantage, pardon me, is the 1-800 call Lenovo. Enterprise software support is our ability to support the solution. This is to tie together some different systems and to differentiate to you how the different systems matter. Now, I'm the product manager for Microsoft products. So down at the bottom, you'll see ThinkAgile SXM. ThinkAgile SXM is Azure Stack. Azure Stack is a great solution. It's using this technology under the covers. And you don't have to manage it. It doesn't matter. The only software product that gets installed, it's a rack scale solution. It's an extension of Azure. So it's taking Azure and bringing it down into your environment so that you can protect your own data, so that you can be behind your firewall. So taking all that in ThinkAgile SXM, Azure Stack is a great thing, but that's a very tightly controlled platform. Any certifications we have for that, though, roll into WSD Solutions. So WSSD Solutions is our primary platform where we validate our solutions, where we keep up to any, if a customer were to come to me today and say, Greg, I need a new solution, that's where it would go. WSSD Solutions, we'd figure out how to implement it. There's a link on the bottom of this, which you will have access to, where we keep our latest configurations. You can sort of get them online, but that lags a little bit. So the document that you see in this link is the best place to go to get what our configurations are, the latest and the greatest configurations. For example, that 2-node. And then finally, we take the best of those, our best sellers, and we roll that into ThinkAgile MX certified node, okay? You'll need to take at least 2 of those, put them together to create an environment. But that is the certification structure within which we live and the product families. ThinkAgile MX is far more flexible in configuration than is Azure Stack. Azure Stack, we tell you you're going to get 10 hard drives and you're going to have 4 cache devices, and here's the processors and memory that you're going to have. In MX, you've got a significantly broader set of choices. For example, hard drives, 4 to 10 hard drives. So taking you through the hard drive, the options, and there's actually sort of a better slide, and also kind of announcing something at this point in time. So I mentioned MX has greater configurability options. They're listed on this chart. So currently we're doing everything in 2U units. We'll be adding other form factors to this, but for storage reasons, we have stuck to 2U for the moment. So the SR650 is our core unit. It's on 2U, 2-socket. And that's what we're building. You can build a system on anywhere from 2 to 16 nodes. 2 processors. Memory, we always insist that you do flood 24 bays. So you can do 24 bay, there's 24 DIMM slots, so we want 24 DIMMs in there for performance reasons. We will allow you to split those though, 12 and 12, so that you can end up with storage in between the numbers that you would get from 8, 16, 32, 64 times 24. You can do 12 and 12 and come up with the in-between numbers, right, if that makes sense. Storage, there are 14 bays available. Now, one of the things we're announcing also here at Ignite, with a slight lag to it, is all flash. So we've been working, there's a slide on it, I'll get into it in a minute, but we've been working closely with Intel, one of our partners. This will be Intel Select certified as well, so we will have an all flash configuration. If you look at the bottom, everything that I'm discussing for hybrid is in this 3.5-inch form factor. That's because in 3.5 inches you can get really big hard drives. We offer up to 12 terabyte hard drives in this space that you can use to flood the bays, etc. For all flash, it suggests a different environment though. It lends itself to 2.5-inch bays. So the other machine that you see across the bottom there is 2.5-inch bays with 24 bays available to us. So we typically start at 20 of those bays filled with just slightly short of 4 terabyte drives, so we can get 80 terabytes of all flash in there. And then the other 4 bays are for hot pluggable NVMe. So those are NVMe U.2, they plug into our AnyBase slots, and then you have that cache tier on top. So this is what that looks like. So this is hybrid, so 3.5-inch configuration, and actually some of these slides were updated and this one didn't get it. So that looks like 1U, it's actually 2U. So, and the exact placement of the drives doesn't matter, but what we end up with then is you can buy units with 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 terabyte drives, up to 10 of those drives, and create storage nodes, all right? And the other capabilities are there too, 8 core to 28 core. 8 core for small environments is extremely lucrative because Windows Server licensing is at 16, that's where it starts, so you can start with just the base licensing and build off of that, and then 192 to 1.5 terabytes of storage. All flash. So this is what we're announcing here at Ignite. So this is a new capability for us. All flash, again, will be built out of 24 bays. You can go down to, actually technically in an all flash environment, you can go down to only 4 drives. Typically we tend to think of this though as 4 of the capacity tier and 2 of the cache tier. You can actually get by with just 4 drives with cache tier devices, which would be acceptable. But if we go down to 4 at 4, that's 16. So that's what I consider the bottom to be, at top end at 80 terabytes. And then you can, of course, join these in a rack, either 2 nodes or more. Now, I think, yes. So one thing I wanted to talk about, and I apologize, we created a slide, did not make it into this deck. So this slide goes back to what Phil was talking about, 2-node. 2-node is a pretty exciting advancement or a validation capability. So in a 2-node environment, we can take 2 of these machines. Any that you saw, any of those configurations, take 2 of them. Now what's exciting about it is you can eliminate the top of rack switch. We did this, we certified this cable to cable. So we still put in a Mellanox or a Cavium adapter. You can do Rocky or you can do iWarp, doesn't make any difference. Take your pick. You can cable one machine to the next machine. You can put 2 crossover cables on there for redundancy, doesn't make any difference. Once you've got that, you do not need a top of rack switch. We've got between 2 and 4 LANs on the motherboard. So we have 10 gig, up to 4 ports of 10 gig on the motherboard. You can use that to connect into your environment. You've got 2 nodes. You've got up to 8 of those to connect into your environment. As Phil mentioned, for the shared witness, a third witness is generally required. You can go with as little as a router and a key fob, right? A memory stick. You can use an SMB share, a file share. You can use other things. You can use the cloud storage if you want to. There are multiple options of what you do for that shared witness. So what you end up with is 2 nodes connected together by a cable, and you have a fully functional storage spaces direct environment. That's pretty powerful and pretty appealing in a lot of environments. So I will close on why Lenovo. So there are other vendors doing this. Now think Agile MX, I only am aware of one other vendor that does something similar. Single part number, wrapping the support around it, single point of support, etc. But we, Lenovo, acquired our gear from IBM. It's been tried and true. We have a great heritage of our equipment. Many of us came over from that environment. In studies done today, in the reports done today, and for the last 3 to 4 years, we are #1 in server reliability. We have multiple benchmarks, particularly with SQL Server, where we hold the record for performance. So we have fast machines, we have fast machines, we have reliable machines, and customer satisfaction is #1 as well. I don't see the little star at the bottom with the source of the information. I apologize. If you need to get back to me on that, I will. This is all validated. These are public reports, right? This is not me, or this is not us. #1 across the board. So that's why would you consider Lenovo, please, as you look forward. So we announced ThinkAgile MX, we announced all flash, and now I'll give it back to Phil so he can talk about how you can enhance that environment.
Thank you, Greg. Okay, so we discussed changes in Server 2019. Greg has introduced you to the power of ThinkAgile MX to give you turnkey validated hardware. Now let's talk about a way that we can give you turnkey integrated platforms. Acuutech Mesh. Acuutech Mesh is an integrated hybrid appliance with direct, hybrid, and cloud services, powered by Lenovo ThinkAgile MX. And I'm going to talk about that now. There are 3 core pillars to this platform, or this solution. Platform, the on-prem component. Hybrid services, leveraging the capabilities of your on-prem systems and directly integrating them to external services. And cloud services, direct, rich integration with that fantastic suite of public cloud services. Acuutech Mesh is designed to be a turnkey platform and services solution. It's built on that fantastic capability, that hyper-converged platform capability of WSSD. It is a fully integrated appliance experience, leveraging on that core hardware platform. And because it's built on that flexible WSSD platform, it scales from the smallest SME or SMB, depending on which part of the world you're from, to the largest enterprise. Remember, I spoke about those large cluster sets earlier, that ability to deliver very, very, very large deployments. Acuutech Mesh uses those capabilities to deliver turnkey solution. This is a busy slide, I know, but here is the portfolio of services built directly into the platform. We start with that integrated hyper-converged system. Built on top of that, we have things like managed volume replication, application hosting, software-defined networking, encryption and validation. Integrated into that are those strong hybrid services, offsite backup, file servers, disaster recovery, all directly integrated with a strong suite of cloud services powered by Microsoft Azure. What is key about Acuutech Mesh is it leverages those capabilities of Windows Server and ThinkAgile MX, and it delivers that as an integrated management experience, a single pane of glass management, seamless integration between your on-prem and your cloud services. Business-ready services. These are not raw technologies. These are business-optimized turnkey services. And of course, because they are services, they are consumed on a commodity model. Now, as I said, this is an appliance. And what does every appliance vendor under the sun need? That's right, pretty boxes. There we are. They're not just brown boxes. There we are. So that's what you get. Nice, shiny boxes. That's what you really wanted, wasn't it, on a Tuesday morning? Good. That's what I like to see. I've been talking about engineering for half an hour, and you wake up at the box. Okay. And obviously, because it's an appliance solution, it can also come with a nice branded rack. That's what you all wanted on a Tuesday morning. So it's a rich integrated experience. Now, let's talk about the platform and its capabilities for a while. Because it's built on WSSD, it is built on Storage Spaces Direct. It is a high-performance, hyper-converged, scalable platform. It has Hyper-V built in, a fantastic hypervisor to deliver virtualization for Windows, Linux, and containers. It gives you that core platform to deliver your workloads and deliver your application demands. And because it's built on those core technologies, it has all those great capabilities. In-place upgrades of hardware and software, granular scale, the ability to increment by one node at a time, The ability to support heterogeneous hardware scenarios. So if you buy today, in 2 years' time, you can integrate a new hardware generation and it will work and be fully integrated. There are multiple hardware options, again, taking advantage of Think Agile MX, but they are delivered as turnkey, ready-to-go builds of materials, optimized for your virtual machine and your storage workloads. Taking advantage of the MX solution, you get turnkey, ready-to-go switching solutions, and they are easy to order as single integrated builds of materials. You can either source your licensing from Lenovo, or you can use your existing licensing. Simple, easy to use, turnkey solutions, rapidly giving you an integrated solution that works. Talk about scale. We can go as low as 2 nodes, 16 terabytes, and 256 gigabytes of RAM. Low-end, price-optimized systems. But then it can also go the other way, per cluster. We can go all the way up to that 16 nodes, and we can move all the way up to almost a petabyte of usable storage. We can move into excess of 8 terabytes of RAM, and we can move to excess of 512 usable cores. Notice, when I talk about performance and scale metrics, I'm talking about the usable capacities. I have no interest in talking about, well, it's got this many components. What you care about as users is what you can use to drive your workloads, and that's what we talk about. Let's talk about some of the pre-configured hardware options. As you can see, these are all based on Think Agile MX. Each one is optimized for different workloads and different scale metrics. Simple and easy to use, built on that fantastic framework of Think Agile MX and based on the WSSD program. So, I have spoken about the core hardware platform and that integrated experience. But the real value is the bolt-on services. The first thing is the ability to do software-defined network, that tenant isolation. The second is to have a turnkey IaaS and hosting platform, ready to go with application templates and rich delivery of services. That then is doubled up with key disaster recovery and volume replication capabilities, either between buildings or across the world or across the planet. And we also fully support the fantastic shielded VM capability that's built into Windows Server to allow you to do virtual machine encryption and isolation. And I'm going to talk about more of those in a minute. So, let's do death by animation. Let's talk about that software-defined networking for a second. For those of you who don't know, this allows you to isolate individual networks on the same core fabric. It even allows you to do subnet isolation and overlap. It fully supports now IP6 as well as IP4. It has a broad suite of virtualized network services, including load balancers, firewalls, and gateways. This allows you to build those complicated network scenarios you used to build on hardware in software, fully integrated with a unified management experience that is a graphical interface, not PowerShell. That then works in harmony with one of my favorite features, shielded VM. Shielded VM means you don't need to do the traditional air gapping scenario. What shielded VM does is it encrypts and isolates the virtual machine from the underlying fabric administrator. This means you can have those critical workloads running on the same core fabric as your mainstream workloads, avoiding having to build separate systems, but your sysadmins cannot access them. They can back them up, they can run them, they can't change the configuration, they can't look at the data. For those compliance scenarios, for those regulatory scenarios, this is an ideal solution. And it's highly cost effective because it means it can run on the same platform as your normal workloads, fully integrated into the system. On top of that, for people who want to do hosting and application delivery, fully integrated turnkey IaaS services to deliver those turnkey templates, those turnkey applications, ready-to-go infrastructure on demand. No more do you have to worry about, I have to wire this network to this VM or set this storage path. Turnkey IaaS management and delivery. And remember, this directly integrates with Azure as well, as I'm going to talk about. So you can run on-prem VMs and also manage Azure VMs from the same basic resource. And then my favorite one, virtual desktop. There is a complete integrated virtual desktop platform, allowing you to deliver either applications or full desktop experiences to your user base, and taking advantage of GPU acceleration built into the platform. High-performance graphics acceleration. Offering OpenGL, OpenCL, DirectX, and direct access to the GPU. There is a broad suite of GPUs supported by the Lenovo platform, allowing you to use the GPUs that are optimized for your applications and workloads. And hey, you get a picture of a spinning car. There we go, bye-bye car. So, that was the summary of the platform capabilities. That massively powerful and scalable WSSD-based core hyperconverged appliance, directly integrated with that fantastic suite of on-prem capabilities to deliver you a state-of-the-art hyperconverged system. However, that's only the start. From that same unified platform I'm talking about, directly bolt on hybrid services. And we offer 3 hybrid services, all designed to complement that on-prem experience with direct integration with Microsoft's fantastic public Azure service. Let's talk about those briefly. The first is probably the one you really never want to use, but actually is critical. Integrated disaster recovery. But let's be very clear, this is not simply Azure Site Recovery. This is integrated managed disaster recovery. Validated applications, validated recovery plans, allowing you from a simple single management interface to enable DR and failover for your on-prem workloads and pick the Azure region they are replicated to and turn on DR and failover like that. Instantly. Fully managed, integrated service. That then is complemented by integrated backup. Delivering that backup of files, that long-term archiving and storage, and moving it off-prem and moving it to Azure. Again, as a simple one-click operation from a unified management interface. App consistent, crash consistent, simple and easy. And the third one that builds into the hybrid section, integrated hybrid file server, allowing you to deliver file servers from on-prem and directly integrate them with the cloud, replicate data to branch offices, or access file servers directly from the cloud, again, as a unified experience. So what that means, as a summary, is that you have that fantastic on-prem component, and you can instantaneously light up DR, backup, and data availability in 2 clicks. That's good. There we are. We've got a hybrid appliance. That's a good news story. However, we also all know that we need to have the cloud services story. We need to integrate cloud as part of our wider platform discussions. And so, Acuutech Mesh, running on top of the Lenovo Think Agile MX, directly integrates and pivots off of Microsoft's enormous and world-leading Microsoft Azure platform. Now, as we know, there are a lot of Azure data centers around the world. This is ideal. Greg has already explained to you that Think Agile MX is available in multiple regions around the world. That means that you can get Think Agile MX and therefore Acuutech Mesh in countries that are close to Azure data centers, giving you that symbiotic relationship. Within the cloud portfolio, there are all the things you would expect. But remember, this is an integrated experience. At no point are you going off to have to use the Azure Management Portal or another portal. It is a single unified experience, delivering Azure IaaS, and all the things you'd expect, the virtual machine sizes, the network configuration, and all the other services you would expect from Azure. But also, you can easily move those workloads from your on-prem to Azure, and by the way, back again. It's also complemented by a fantastic PaaS offering. Full management of the marketplace inside of Azure and the Azure database services, giving the ability to enable some of the SQL and some of the other non-Microsoft-based SQL offerings delivered on top of Azure, again, as a turnkey integrated experience. And then, because the world has changed from a manageability point of view, and all of us in our organizations now have to deal with the bring your own device scenario, direct integration of Intune and device management, again, integrated into the experience. Deploying and controlling your PCs, your Macs, your Android, your iOS devices, all from a single pane of glass to a distributed client base. You're wondering what's animating, aren't you? And then to back up on that device management, multi-factor authentication support built in for any of your apps that support Azure AD. Because the platform offers direct Azure AD integration, you can easily and quickly turn on multi-factor authentication to your user base and to your applications without the complexity and hassle. And of course, although I didn't talk about it because I guess you already know about it, full support for Office 365 and the management of Office 365 plans for your user base. So, let's talk about the summary for a second. Using the power of Windows Server, taking the features of Server 2019, mixing that with the validated industry-leading hardware from the Lenovo ThinkAgile MX, to deliver a hyper-converged appliance that scales from tiny 2-node scenarios up to very, very, very large enterprise scenarios. A platform that's flexible in terms of delivering those general workloads or those specialist database or GPU-accelerated workloads, all from a unified management experience. And then delivering that integrated hybrid and cloud services solution. And critically, because those services are consumed on a consumption-based model, as your services requirements change or your user number changes, you can evolve with it. That gives you flexibility on the service side, and it gives you flexibility on the platform side. So, as I said, all of that, Acuutech Mesh, delivered by ThinkAgile MX, delivered by a WSSD-ready platform. And with that, I'm going to say thank you very much indeed, and I will call Greg back up on stage. Greg, if you'd like to join me. Do we have any questions, or have I bored you all to death this morning? I think it's the latter by the looks of things.
No questions? ThinkAgile MX, Mesh, Storage Spaces Direct, WSSD? Yes, please. There are microphones up if you wouldn't mind, but I can repeat your question back.
Right, okay, so I believe the question is, will ThinkAgile MX support? Your question was hot tier, cold tier, was that correct? Are you talking about MRT, map volumes? Okay, so the question is when you have a cache tier, hot tier, and cold tier. In the world of Storage Spaces Direct, there are a number of mechanisms that are in place. The first thing to understand is that all write I/O is accelerated as it goes through something called the storage bus cache, commonly referred to as cache. Right? That is in the write data path at all times. Okay? It's why I/O is so quick. Entirely separately to that, there are a number of ways to block data out on disk. Right? And the most efficient way is to use something called mirror accelerated parity, where the volume is partially written in three-way mirror and partially written in erasure coding. Okay? So those are the data acceleration and data blockout efficiency technologies in Storage Spaces Direct. And does ThinkAgile MX support those technologies? Yes, it does. Does that answer your question?
And I was going to just, to ThinkAgile MX supports all the features of Storage Spaces Direct. So we make no restrictions on that. So Phil's giving you the details of Storage Spaces Direct. We support all of those in MX. Does that answer your question? Excellent. Other questions? All right. Well, then we thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a great show.
Thank you all.